So today is one of those days where I set out to do one thing, two things, several different things. Every time I came out, something happened. So I'm just kind of like I'm working my butt off to not do anything. Natalie needs something, the kids need something. My youngest son following me around and saying, "Dude, don't move away from me, come this way, go that way." And you see him in like a recent video of trying to get honeysuckles one-handed, to pull that sap out of those honeysuckles. Should I call it nectar, not sap? So I've started working on Wetland Zone 1 and making a trail or a series of trails between Wetland Zone 1 and other areas of the property. Definitely not done yet, but this right here is a red mulberry I had to dig up in order to get the lawnmower through that trail, and I had to dig up some elderberries and a few other things as well. So what we have here is one of our pots of American persimmons that have started coming out of their seed. I was going to say hatching, but they're not eggs. Sprouting, that's the term. So I had 100 seeds I ordered from, I don't know if it was eBay, Amazon, Etsy, somewhere, but they were not cold stratified. So I cold stratified them for about 100 days, maybe a little bit longer. And I put a bunch in a variety of places just in the ground, because I seem to like to do that when I have a lot of seeds. And then I put some in 4 or 5 pots, and we started seeing like the first one sprout a couple weeks ago. Some of them took a while to sprout though. After having sort of bad luck with that micro grafted American persimmon I got last year, and having both of their grafts not make it, and one of them, the rootstock, didn't even make it. Well, the other one, does have a rootstock there. It's very small still. I'm just not a fan of micrografts. I thought I had changed my mind when I seen them and planted them in the ground, because they did come up, but they just did not survive. And being in Florida, being in the South, there just aren't many, if any, nurseries like open to the public or garden centers that are selling grafted American persimmons. And there aren't a lot selling more the rare persimmons, like the vanilla, Chinting, coffee cake. I think some of them are kind of crossover or overlap, where they have multiple names for the same varieties. I think between my local nursery, Blue Star, and Home Depot, Lowe's, and a few other nurseries, I've probably seen them maybe 10 cultivars, 12 cultivars total, with Fuyu or Giant Fuyu, Saijo, Gyro, and Ananashi being some of the most common ones available. And I don't blame anybody for liking Saijo, however it's pronounced, because so far it's probably the best and my most favorite one of those varieties. And I have the Giant Fuyu, and I've had Tananashi. Tananashi gets big, but we just had a lot of trouble with fruit drop and stuff with it. So Saijo, we did so much better with it so far. And you can just eat 2 or 3 at a time. They don't all ripen and fall off the tree at once, so that's always a plus. And I've not really been a big fan of having to, cold stratify stuff. But price-wise, with how cheaper you can produce, rootstock and stuff with persimmons, plums, and all kinds of things like that, versus buying rootstock for between like $4.50 and like $7 or $8 a piece for one plant. It makes more sense to just cold stratify and buy seeds in bulk. So yeah, I guess the main purpose of getting these guys as seeds is to back up, to learn better grafting methods, and if we make a mistake on 1 or 2, we may not have that much rootstock to work with. But if we have 100 seeds, 100 seedlings, 50 seedlings, or whatever, it gives us a better chance. It also gives us a chance to potentially, if we have success, share, grafted persimmons with people. It's like we promised to have more mulberry videos on this garden vlog season. We'll definitely have at least one more persimmon vlog, probably more than that. Once they start producing fruit, we got to get the kids in there picking them. So I hope that we'll have multiple videos surrounding that persimmon propagation and grafting, and not only this season but in the next year or two. We have been digging, we have been cutting trees and stuff that were too big and stuff like that, and of course we'll use all the leaves and all the limbs for beds and all that good stuff. That was a sweet gum that just got a little bit too close to one of my buildings there, and it was kind of hovering over that jelly pindo palm there. But this area here is where a dip is on my property. It's not the wettest area, but definitely a dip where it's wetter than 10 foot out that way or something. This is actually where I used to have my Anna apple, and I've been having problems with this cherry guava just drying out in a day or two, so I have to bottom soak it or water it all the time. I guess these guys really like it wet, or at least moist. So I decided to put it here in this dip. But I did make a little kind of mycorrhizal miniature version, just to raise it up maybe 2 inches above the soil line. And that hopefully will keep it from drowning out. But then I also added some peat to help it hold water or moisture as well. So hopefully it'll be happy here with the mulch and leaves and pine needles and all that good stuff. So sorry I didn't do that on video. I haven't really been planting out anything on video. I've been trying to just find time to just rush out and do a job real quick. And remember, my camera's messed up. I'm on the iPad. This is a terrible quality video, but at least it's something. We're getting something out here. So it's probably about 26, 28 inches, maybe 30. So it grew quite a bit since I've gotten it, and I've had to kind of re-tie it on the little piece of bamboo there a few times. But hopefully being in the ground, it'll take off a little bit faster. These guys get really tall. I think in Brazil, get like 60 foot, but the cold weather is probably going to prevent that from happening here. We're on that pineapple guava bed that we've been working on, doing a post mycorrhizal bed, just putting tree logs and stuff all down here and filling it with leaves and sticks and debris. So we're finally getting it filled in a little bit. It's not going to be like getting a truckload or 2 truckloads of mulch and just putting it down there, but so there's going to be some bare spots, there's going to be some high spots. Some of these pineapple guavas look a little bit stressed out, maybe not enough rain, I'm not sure why. But hopefully, we'll get them to be happier as we keep adding stuff. I knew this wasn't going to be overnight, so it's probably only half done as of right now. By the time we get it close to like fully done, a lot of this stuff will probably be broken down and all that good stuff. Hopefully, it'll keep the ground a little bit moist and all for these pineapple guavas. And in this same area, I have this mystery pear tree that, I probably forgot the label got damaged or something, lost 10 years ago probably. It's been blooming for that long or more, but never produced pears. So I think I did a video a while back of bringing another pear in a pot that was flowering and just setting it down there. And I got at least 2 pears. You probably can't see it on video. Somewhere around there. And another one I've seen. There could be more than that. Yeah, there's one on that limb there. They're probably only about 1 inch, 1.5 inches right now. So they got a little bit of growing and maturing to do. And we've grafted 2 or 3 other pears on it. This is a kefir pear. I don't like kefir pears, but just put it on a little branch there in hopes that it'll flower and just help with pollination. Hopefully this guy's going to be a soft pear, but I have no idea. I can't remember. I planted so many pears if I look back in email receipts or anything, I would not probably be able to figure it out fully. I could just guess it could be 1 out of 8 or 10 different cultivars. So hopefully the squirrels don't get it and we can figure out if they're a hard pear or soft pear or whatever this year. We used to have an Asian pear somewhere around here, probably 8 foot away from that guy, 10 foot, maybe a little bit lower. And it didn't make it, ended up dying to the rootstock. I think the goats ended up destroying it, and it didn't come back after that. This one Duncan grapefruit here looks terrible. I bought 2 of them. One of them did great in one area, and this one here is just half of it, if not 2/3, have died. You see the black limbs there where they died. So hope it'll catch on. I'm mulching it heavily with pine needles. We fed it a little bit, probably give it some more black cow or something later to try to promote some kind of growth on it, but it does not look good right now. And this is where a Thompson Pink or some other type of grapefruit was that the goats also killed. So let's talk about paws for a little bit. And that's kind of what was on my mind when I said let's just make a fast video. Not going to be too fast, but we decided this year to not get too many new cultivars. I think I probably talked about this on a previous video, that we sort of changed our mind. Like the Prima was an Italian cultivar that wasn't, it was like a huge fruit, but it's not a good fruit. Supposedly one of the most bland tasting pawpaws there are. So I just counted by root suckers and stuff, and I said, well, do I have enough root suckers to back up my existing grafted cultivars and stuff like that, and see what I had available after that. So I didn't have too much, and I ended up getting 2 cultivars, Kentucky Champion, Scion Wood, and IXL. And I'm not sure if any other grafts took. I think maybe one of them was showing signs of life. I did like 4 or 6 grafts with those 2 pieces of Scion Wood. Some of the grafts were wrapped, like this guy here, which is just number 3. And this guy here wasn't. No signs of life, although I think that may still have green on it, so it could come back. That's Pandam. This is just 3. And 1, 2, and 3 just represented named cultivars that I lost the cultivar tags to. I got an idea of what they are, but I don't know which one is assigned specifically to what number. One of them, or 1 or 2 was a Neil Peterson, I think one of them, and then there were 2 others. I'd have to go look back and see. This, I think, is my Pandam Florida Panhandle root sucker. I put, I think, sunflower there and a mango down there, and no signs of sprouting yet. This is another root sucker that's just in a bed of freaking passion flower and stuff. I did a top IXL, which is one I just got, Scion Woods, and no sign of life yet. And a little side veneer graft there, whatever, of NC1. Again, no sign of life on that one. This guy here is just a Tennessee seedling that has never fired. It has KSU Atwood on the top, and it has a little wrapped Kentucky Champion. Again, no signs of life yet as far as I can see, but it is wrapped. This here is a Pennsylvania Golden, I believe. I put a mango on the bottom and an IXL on top. And so far, actually, right there's a tiny leaf shooting out of that IXL, I think. Let's see. It's not gonna... Yeah, it might actually be shooting a new leaf out. This guy here, I think, is just a rootstock that died a long time ago. And I put, I think it says just a number here, number 2 on top. Not sure what it's going to do. I think the scratch test still shows green, and no leaves are coming or buds below the graft, so that may be a good sign. Just an FYI, we got 2 shipments from Fruitwood Nursery a while back. Both shipments were late. One of them was over 2 weeks late from the Postal Service, and then FedEx or whatever they shipped it the second time with, I guess they had some bad weather or a tornado outbreak or something, and it was late. But it was only 2 or 3 days late. But that first shipment possibly could have affected the quality of scion wood and the success rate. Check this guy out. First time this guy's ever bloomed, and this is part of that 1, 2, 3 group, and it's the largest pawpaw flower I've ever seen here. This is another Tennessee seedling, and we put number 1 on here. Nothing leaving out yet, but it actually looks alive still, so we'll see. Now this is what I'm calling my Tennessee avocado, little small pawpaws that are avocado. So this is a root sucker. My main tree died, and I put a Summer Delight scion wood here. I forgot I got 3, I guess, cultivars instead of 2. It looks awful dark, hard to tell, so we'll see. I think I attached a pandam here, and it's possible that it's alive. It's hard to tell without doing a scratch test. This is Kentucky Champion, so I guess it does have some buds coming out. 2 of them, it looks like. So maybe we got at least 1 take on that one. Looks like we did another side graft of pandam, and there's a green bud right there, so maybe that'll take as well. I put an NC1 here, and I did not have a lot of NC1 bud wood or anything, so I hope that one of the 3 or 4 that I did will have at least 1 backup. So this little area here is on like a little side yard that's overgrown. Lots heavy shade, probably pretty moist mostly year round. And my mango tree is right there, my mango pawpaw. So most likely these are mango suckers, which, you know, not true mango. They're just going to be a random seedling, but suckers from that mango tree. And there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 suckers right there, and a lot of side shoots. So I said, well, this would be a good place to do some backups. So mango, look, this right here is pandam, which I think it passes the scratch test, but it's not budding out yet. This guy here is that Tennessee avocado. As you can see, there's some buds, some leaves coming out. This guy right here leafing out is a sunflower. And let's see, what do we got here? NC1 still, yeah, it looks like it might be leafing out on that one. And then we have IXL, which would be up here. Possible bud there, but it's hard to tell yet. This is my little grafted NC1 here. As you can see, definitely got a flower or 2 there, and it's actually got more flower buds that haven't gotten really big, but not a whole lot of growth on this guy. Just now starting to leaf out. And this guy here is probably my biggest pawpaw now since that Tennessee avocado died. And this is the sunflower. Pretty vigorous growth. Definitely one of my best grafted flowering varieties. Has many flowers each year. So in that one little area, the furthest any 2 furthest trees are apart from each other is about 18 or 20 foot, and 3 of those grafted varieties should have 3 genetically different rootstocks. One of them is already suckering. When those other 2 sucker, it looks like there's going to be probably about 9 varieties there. Maybe more if we add more. So the only thing it doesn't have for it is not a lot of sunshine. So productivity may not be as good as it can get if it were in the full sun, but at least that makes a nice backup station. I kind of thought that, you know, it'd be a good idea to back up that Tennessee avocado because it was such a big bloomer, you know, so for pollination purposes it might, you know, be better, you know, for that than a lot of the other cultivars out there that just have a small amount of blooms. Like mango does not bloom very often. Mango might bloom for somebody in the Panhandle or Georgia or Tennessee, but it has very few blooms here in north central Florida. And I'm trying to think of how many named cultivars I have, and I think probably 4 to 6 of them have just lost the tags, forgot what they were, or at the time I would get scion wood and graft 2 or 3 times with a piece of wood, and not all took, and I might have just used that name tag on one scion, one graft, and just forgot about what the other ones were over time. And like I said, I lost the tags on some of them I bought as grafted, including one of those Neil Peterson ones. I had to go to the computer to kind of figure out what kind of genetics we have, how many genetically different rootstock seedlings, grafted tops we potentially have. So when we calculate our rootstocks from the grafted plants we already got, the seedlings we already had, I had one graft that I bought, I think it was, let me see, Sweet Alice had died, so we had the rootstock come back, so everything, and I ended up figuring out that I had 2 of the Peterson paws instead of 1. So Pennsylvania Golden would be rootstock and the graft, then Mango MC1, Sunflower, Rebecca's Gold, Potomac, Susquehanna, the Tennessee Avocado, Tennessee 2, Tennessee Seedling 3, 4, rootstock from Sweet Alice, the Tallahassee Panhandle Seedling, KSU Atwood, Unknown Graft 4 and 5, IXL Summer Delight, Kentucky Champion, and that seedling we produced here on the farm. So if all goes well, that'll be at least 27 different genetics growing here. Alright guys, I think that's it. Take care.